question. So maybe the key features of this electronic tax invoice management system is the flexibility to provide a variety of integration solutions between the taxpayers system and KRA system. Because of that direct integration, then it comes up with a lot of flexibility, including the use of mobile phones. For example, you just have to download an app to your mobile. You can log in to that mobile app and raise the invoice, and KRA gets the data. We have the Windows for the laptops and computers, tablets, the point of sale, online solutions, and ERP systems. So that massive flexibility, I think, brings a very key differentiator between what we have had so far, that is TIMS and the e-TIMS. And that flexibility ensures that taxpayers' needs are taken care of without necessarily changing from the existing business systems, that is the ERPs they have. So it's a great solution with great features which are friendly, and I think taxpayers will enjoy it once they onboard to e-TIMS. Thank you, Corazon.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I really like that you've mentioned the word flexibility, and that we are able to use it with whichever gadget we have, from the mobile to the tablets that we have, and the fact that it is actually very friendly for our taxpayers. So back to you, Liz Vera. So given that you've told us that you don't need to buy anything extra, and Daniel here has just told us about the flexibility bit of it, what then is the difference between the TIMS 1.0 and TIMS 2.0? What is the difference between TIMS and e-TIMS?
Corazon, I don't know if there's a problem from my side or it's only me, because there's a lot of noise. I don't know if anyone else can confirm.
Yes, I think it looks like
there's a lot
from my end,
like your window. Yeah, it looks like your window.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just close my window. Sorry for that.
Okay.
So can you now hear me a bit clearly?
Yeah. Not even a bit. It's perfect.
Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. So Liz Vera, before I was trying to find out what is the difference between TIMS 1.0 and TIMS 2.0, the current software that you're calling the e-TIMS. What is the difference between the two?
Thank you for that question. So I know this is a question of interest to most of our VAT registered taxpayers, because initially we had been championing for TIMS, and now it is about e-TIMS. So the major difference is that for the TIMS 1.0, then it was pegged on devices. It was a device-based solution because we were asking our taxpayers to buy the devices. Whereas for e-TIMS, it is an improvement of the TIMS offering solution, which actually, as my panelist has made it clear, that it is basically more flexible to meet taxpayers' need, and of course at minimal cost. The catch-2 situation here is that as much as we are saying that e-TIMS is free, remember you have to at least have a gadget like a phone or a laptop for you to enjoy the e-TIMS. So the major difference per se is that the TIMS was device-based. You had to buy a device, whereas the e-TIMS solution, we are having softwares that can be integrated with your laptops or with your phones or even your desktops. So that ideally is the major difference. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Liz Vera, for that. That is very insightful. And I'm just going to ask our second panelist, Daniel, if you can just weigh in on this, because now that it's a software system and I can access it through my mobile and my tablet. So the question that you're posing to you from the floor is, how then do I access the e-TIMS? If now I say I'm on board, I understand e-TIMS, how can I access this e-TIMS system?
Thank you, Corazon. So for e-TIMS can be accessed through an application system into a taxpayer's mobile or computer, tablets, gadgets, through integration to the taxpayer's ERP system. And this can also be accessed directly online, whereby you just log into, it's a website, you get in, create your account, log in, and then you're able to raise your invoices, and that data goes to KRA. So you can still have, as I said initially, there is the mobile phone app option. There is computer, tablets, or gadgets, where then you download the software, integrate it with your ERP, and then that means then once you are raising your invoices through your ERP, then that information is still getting transmitted to the Revenue Authority. And then that other option where we are saying you can also access it directly online, a website link, you just log in, create your account, do your invoicing, and everything is communicated to the Revenue Authority.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel, for that. There's just a follow-up question that is coming from the floor. And Liz Vera, I'm just going to ask you to weigh in on this. So Brian is asking, is the e-TIMS is it supported on Mac? Liz Vera, if you can weigh on it.
Thank you, Corazon. So for e-TIMS, remember we have various 4 options. So as long as if you choose the online solution, you can log in anywhere, because remember it is a URL. You don't need to install it to use it. So if you choose the online option, if you have a MacBook or any Mac device, then yes, you can be able to use it. The only challenge at the moment, which is also being addressed, is the other options that have to be downloaded, that are only downloadable on Android devices. So that is an enhancement that is currently ongoing, but the alternate provision is that those who are choosing the online option then can still use their Mac devices and still do invoicing.
Thank you so much, Vera, for that. I really like that it's just encompassing everyone, and all our taxpayers are being brought on board. So regardless of the machine that you have, because of the flexibility that Daniel has just alluded to, at least it's catering for everyone currently. So Liz Vera, my next question to you will be, so which category of taxpayer is the system meant for? So if you can just break down to us, which categories of taxpayers do you encourage to use this system? Or is it just meant for everyone?
Thank you, Corazon. First, even before we go to the category that the system suits, is that every taxpayer, every VAT registered taxpayer can be able to onboard e-TIMS. So initially, when we began the project, we were saying that the system suits all taxpayer, the system suits a certain category, but we have enhanced, we have built capacity such that the system will be able to incorporate all the VAT registered taxpayers, from the small taxpayers to the large taxpayers, and also it will include all sectors, be it hospitality, manufacturing, construction, every other sector that is in this country. So depending on the uniqueness or the size or whichever feature you want to categorize taxpayers with, e-TIMS is able to accommodate all. The only differentiating factor, therefore, would be how they invoice their taxpayers, or do they trade in goods or services? That is what will inform the type of solution that they will take. But I can assure you that e-TIMS will be able to cater for all the VAT registered taxpayers, and there's no category that is left behind because of any other thing. Back to you.
Well, that is just wonderful, Liz Vera, because clearly you've just managed to capture everyone, and you are really bringing everyone on board just to be able to comply with ease. So there's a question from the floor before I move to the second, to the other questions. And an attendee is asking, so what happens to the new ETR machines that they have just purchased? Maybe if you can shed some light on it a bit.
We have clearly stated that you will not be, or rather, we will not advise you to stop using your devices. Remember, eTIMS is an enhancement, and even when we were rolling out TIMS, we had already given clear outline that the technology advancement cannot be stopped at any stage. So the management will be very vocal in the next weeks to give clear guidelines on how we are going to move. But as for now, we are encouraging our taxpayers to onboard eTIMS.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera, for that. So I like that they can still use the machine, that the ETR TIMS machine that they currently have, and that is really good and comforting to know from our participants on the floor. So the next question that we have is there a deadline for acquiring eTIMS? And maybe Daniel, you can just shed some light on it. Is there a deadline for acquiring eTIMS?
Thank you, Corazon. I think, as you put it during the start of the discussion, eTIMS is an improvement of TIMS. It's not really a different solution being implemented. It's just an improvement of TIMS to an electronic version of it. It's currently being rolled out. Currently, I think maybe taxpayers might have heard of the piloting phase, where some taxpayers have been involved to test the system and see whether it works well, where there are challenges, then they are well addressed before then it's rolled out and open for all taxpayers now to onboard. So the effective date for onboarding TIMS, which is currently being used, that was 30th of November 2022. So from December 2022, that's when we saw every VAT registered taxpayer now on board to TIMS. Taxpayers who have not onboarded are required to onboard immediately to avoid being penalized as per the provisions of the VAT law and also the VAT electronic tax invoice regulations. So ideally, it's like we are saying, if you've not yet onboarded TIMS, okay, don't wait for eTIMS. Of course, eTIMS is coming up, but then you have to comply with the law. So just onboard TIMS, but I know there are taxpayers who have maybe had challenges. They have already reached out to the KRA to discuss the challenges they have had in terms of onboarding TIMS. I can say, even from my experience, just a few who were not completely able to onboard, but then there is correspondence with the KRA, the relevant team at KRA. There is already documentation on that, and then so if somebody, a taxpayer, is VAT registered, you are still in business, you are making supplies, just onboard TIMS as we wait for eTIMS. But then it should be soon. I know we are at the tail end. It will be soon released to the public, and also maybe the VAT electronic tax invoice regulations also updated, because currently the way they are worded like based on TIMS, which requires an ETR. Then I think with eTIMS, which is a software-based solution, then the regulations will also be updated just to align with that. So it will be soon for eTIMS, but if somebody is not already onboarded to TIMS, let them do that ASAP, just to avoid being penalized.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for that. And I like that you're just reminding us the time to onboard eTIMS is now. It's not tomorrow, it's now. And that KRA is there available just to be able to assist you so that you'll be able to get on board and just starts enjoying the benefits of having the eTIMS software. So there's a question that I'll post to you, Liz Vera. It's from the floor. So, but Sogoi is asking, I was advised to opt to eTIMS online portal. I have tried that, but what I found out is that from the user guide, it says that you should activate eTIMS 2.1, but I found only eTIMS number version 2.1. Tried to upload the required documents, but it doesn't go through, citing there's an applying service. So, so Liz Vera, if you can kindly just guide these taxpayers in case they're trying to get on board and maybe for one reason or another they get stuck, what is it that they should do so that they can onboard on eTIMS?
Thank you, Corazon. Even before I answer that question, I'd like to make it clear that there's no waiting time for eTIMS. We are currently onboarding taxpayers, and it is a process that has begun on a high note because the turnout has been so great. We've had most of our VAT registered taxpayers coming to be registered, and they're already using our platform to do their invoices. So for one of our attendees who is saying that they were unable to upload their documents while they were applying for eTIMS, and the error there was an applying service is already in place, then it means that there's a request that has already been sent to us. So all they need to do, remember with eTIMS, and we have already appreciated technology such that you really don't have to be physically in a KRA office to be assisted. We can equally help you remotely by asking you to, we can share a meeting link, and then we can even support taxpayers remotely. So for that taxpayer, maybe they can call us. Corazon will be able to share our phone numbers and our email address at the end of this presentation so that we can pick it up and we can guide you. And the beauty about eTIMS, again, is that it is self-explanatory. It is a normal invoicing platform that once you're taken through once, then you'll be able to maneuver your way around it. So if you are unable to upload your documents as you have stated, then we can pick it at the tail end of this presentation. And for sure, you will be assisted at the comfort of your home. Back to you, Corazon.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. I really like that you really don't have to come to KRA for you to be assisted. And we really appreciate KRA for the fact that you're willing to just assist the taxpayer from where they are. And for sure, we are definitely going to send out your number so that they'll be assisted at the comfort of where they are. Daniel, there's a question that keeps popping up. And I know you've already alluded to it, but maybe if you can just answer it again for the purposes of our participants. So they want to know, does eTIMS operate on specific device specifications? If you can just sort of clarify and simplify it for us to be able to understand it better.
Thank you, Corazon. So the eTIMS operate in most taxpayer systems. It's compatible with most of the ERPs and such, and even the devices, as we say, the mobile phones, the computers, the laptops. And then I know the KRA has a dedicated team that has been put together to help taxpayers in onboarding, as Liz Vera alluded to that. So there is enough support from the KRA, even the technical team there. So whatever challenge somebody is experiencing, when it comes to integration with the systems, then the KRA is ready and able to support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Before I release you, there's two more questions that have just come in relation to the answer that you've given us from the floor. And the participants are just wondering, is the software easy to install or does it require an expert? And if it requires an expert, in which area? So maybe if you can touch on it, and maybe Liz Vera, also feel free if you can weigh in on it. Michael? Daniel, sorry.
Okay. Thanks, Corazon. Maybe I'll allow Liz to confirm on that. Just it's more technical question in terms of the tech side of it. Liz, please.
Liz Vera, yes.
Thank you, Corazon. So, as we had initially stated that eTIMS is quite simple in terms of integration. You don't need. Remember, we have discussed that we have 4 solutions. So for you to onboard the 3 solutions, that includes the multi-pay point, single pay point, and the online option, then clearly you don't need someone who is tech savvy, because it is just the way you download an app on your phone and you follow the steps, then the installation is that simple. However, we have the option for the virtual sales control unit and the OSCU, online sales control unit. This will be applicable for taxpayers who have their POS, that their points of sales that need integration. Then in that circumstance, we are in the process of getting third-party vendors who will be able to help with integration. But for the free online solutions that KRA is offering, it is very simple. It does not need anyone who is tech savvy per se, so that you can be able to do the installation. And as we have discussed, remember the online portal is just a link. So clearly, once you have the link and you have your logins, then you can be able to access the platform and you can be able to invoice. So there's no known requirement for installation that requires someone to need technical technical assistance, but except for the 2 options, that is the VSCU and OSCU, that are still currently in development, that eventually will need a third-party integrator. But the current solutions being offered do not require technical person to help with installation. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. So it's as easy as just downloading any other app and following the step-by-step guides to be able to have the eTIMS on board. So I'm going to pose in a question to you, Daniel. And my question to you, and I'm really interested to see it from a perspective of a taxpayer. What are the benefits of eTIMS?
Yeah, thank you, Corazon. That's a very good question. So as Liz Vera alluded to it, you don't need you don't need an hardware or the ETR. So in terms of cost saving, so it reduces tax compliance cost first in terms of implementation. And also there's a lot of cost saving, maybe as I go down, maybe sharing the benefits. So number 2, there is a convenience of simplified tax process, as data submitted is reused for various tax administration purposes. I think this touches both on the KRA side and also the taxpayer side, because this data can be used. It's like it minimizes a lot of duplication of efforts which has been there. For example, if you've already, you can log into iTax and to the tax portal, and you have your purchases there, whatever suppliers have declared sales to you, then those same purchases, I would also expect when it comes to the other side of it, the income tax or the corporate income tax return, then the expenses and everything there is also mirrors what we have in the tax portal. So it saves a lot in terms of convenience, and then a reduction in transaction processing cost. There has been a research which estimates that businesses could save up to 70% in transaction processing cost compared to PDF invoice processing by adopting the use of e-invoicing systems. So, like if you have your finance guys, they get a PDF, somebody has to manually key in the details of that invoice into your ERP. Somebody even can mess and typo errors and such things. It's a long process if you have to do it manually. But now with eTIMS or e-invoicing, then I think this is a very big save in terms of reducing the transaction processing costs. And then there's a reduction in manual processing errors. I think I just mentioned that, where you have to capture invoice data manually, then that exposes you to errors. I know most of taxpayers have already been receiving the the VAT inconsistency notices, which are majorly, you may find just somebody missed just a single number in the invoice when you are capturing the invoice number, when you are filing your VAT return, and then the other person, so you find that mismatch in the invoice number or even invoice date causing inconsistency notices, which when they turn to, maybe when they resort into assessments, then it becomes costly even to resolve the whole issue with the KRA. So TIMS then reduces the risk of manual processing errors and mitigates the risk of misplacing or losing invoices in transit. Because we trust systems, and of course, where they are well implemented, then it's easy to track everything. And then there is reduced manual intervention, which leads to increased data quality. So again, here we are looking at quality of the data you have, of course, free of errors and such. Then another one is there is security and reliability. Suppliers can be confident that invoices are being received by the buyer because it's a system-to-system communication. So definitely the supplier and the buyer, whatever is done from either side, then it's received by the other party. So there is that security and reliability. This removes any manual follow-ups required to ensure the invoice was properly received. The built-in security systems and standards authenticate participants and users, adding an extra layer of security of email channels. So as maybe most of the taxpayers are already aware, TIMS is in terms of security, KRA has done their work well. It's a secure system. There is no exposure to maybe data being available to users who should not access it. So this also gives security in terms of whatever data transmission between the taxpayer and the KRA, the data is secured and there is no breach of data security requirements. So again, there is improved record keeping. The streamlined nature of invoicing will facilitate improved record keeping, which will assist in business reporting obligations. Of course, data from system will make it easier even to report. I know some multinationals have these monthly reporting to their head offices or maybe the group at group level. And I think basically because of these manual reporting, then we've based on experience, I've seen some delays with these reporting and such, and even locally, even for entities which are just reporting within Kenya. So these having everything in the system then will mean end of the month, the next 2-3 days, reporting has been done and concluded. And then there is fraud detection. E-invoicing will reduce invoice fraud. That is prevalent in current paper-based or email processes. These will also provide level playing field for taxpayers in competitive environment. So here we are just saying, I know most of us have heard about, we've heard fictitious input VAT claims, people just using, that was before maybe TIMS came in, people using fake invoices to claim input VAT and such. So these will be curbed by introduction of these e-TIMS. And so fraud in terms of maybe somebody claiming expenses which we are not at first incurred and such, these will be these has already been dealt with. And then there is easy access to the system using the taxpayers' gadgets, as Liz Vera has already alluded to this. And then there is good stock management solution for taxpayers, clearly showing the purchases and sales from whom and to whom it was made to. So there is a lot of benefits, and even to mention when it comes also to VAT refund processing and such, because data is already with KRA. There is no that you may not necessarily have to be told, can you provide copies of the invoices and everything just for KRA to do confirmation. So long as they can see the seller sold, they declare the output, you are claiming the input. The VAT refund process will also improve, and many other benefits. It's a super system for sure. Thank you, Corazon.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for that very comprehensive benefits that you've given us. I'm sure myself and the participants, you had us at simplification, accuracy, and reduction of cost. And I'm sure so many of us here today are just so happy to know that those are some of the key benefits that we get from using the TIMS system. So there's a question that has got us excited, Liz Vera, and I'll just ask you if you can just give us some clarity on it. So Brian is asking, based on the benefits that we've just had, so will we be moving away from filing iTax returns, or what does it mean for us as the taxpayer? And Liz Vera, also allow me to just combine it with another question, where Hezron just wants to know then how can they integrate TIMS with their reservation booking system software. Liz Vera?
Thank you, Corazon. So we will begin with the first question, where a taxpayer is asking if they will still proceed with their filing of their returns on iTax. And it's clear to say that TIMS is an invoicing platform and not a filing platform. So this is where you will be able to invoice, but for your normal filing at the end of the month or on or before the 20th of every subsequent month, then you will still be required to file your VAT returns to avoid penalties and any other inconsistencies with the law. So as we move ahead, it's also important to also prepare our taxpayers that since we will be already having most of these data with us, including your sales and your purchases, then there will come a time for sure where we will be able to do auto-population and pre-filing of your VAT returns. But currently, the guidance is very clear that as much as you are using TIMS to invoice, then you will still be required to file your returns. So then the next question was a taxpayer asking on how to do the integration between their system and TIMS. And as I had stated earlier, that we have the 4 different solutions. So if you have your POS or a different invoicing solution and you want to integrate with us, then you're likely to fall under the VSC, Virtual Sales Control unit, and that is work in progress. It's still under testing, and we are still giving the third-party integrators access to our sandbox where they are still testing. And this information is also out there in public domain in our website. So until we are clear where we are heading and when the taxpayers on VSCU can onboard, it's still under development. So the options available for now are taxpayers who are currently going to use our invoicing platform. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. To our participants, it's a call to action. If you are to get to that space where everything is auto-populated for us and it's very simple for us to be able to file our VAT returns, let's all get on board, because we'll have the data somewhere and it should be very, very easy for us to be able to assist you to comply. Now, Daniel, from the perspective of a taxpayer, if you're to encourage our listeners today, where can you, in your line and in the process of you getting assistance when trying to onboard your clients to TIMS, where did you get assistance? So please, if you can kindly explain to us where and how can we make inquiries about TIMS. Maybe you can tell us from the perspective of how you've gone about it and how you assisted, and then also Liz Vera can just give us can also weigh in on that as well.
Thank you, Corazon. Yeah, first, being a consultant sitting between the KRA and the taxpayers, I can confirm that personally, I found the KRA very supportive even when these teams started, we've had a lot of engagements. So there is the TIMS project support team that continues to provide support to taxpayers. Taxpayer support have also been rolled out to all taxpayers service offices, that is the TSOs, countrywide. And then there is also the call centers, which you can contact them and they will support you during the implementation process. So I can confirm for sure it has been a smooth journey because there is a lot of support and commitment from the KRA side. I've severally been to the KRA's offices. Even previously, Madam Akamba was the TIMS project manager and our team, and also now we have yourselves supporting with eTIMS. And even I know you are working hand in hand with Madam Akamba and their team. So it's always, KRA is always available. And as I said, there are the call centers you can raise your queries with, but I can confirm the experience has been good so far. And yeah, that's where you can get assistance from. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Before we move to Liz Vera, there is a suggestion from the floor. If you can kindly put your cameras on. Daniel, I think they want to confirm if you're having a smiling face when you're getting assistance from us. And with Liz Vera, they just want to see the face behind, the face that will be assisting them to be able to just get this assistance at the end of the day. So we can kindly put on.
Apologies, Corazon. Yes. You know our devices are disabled. I will endeavor to do that next time, but today my device is disabled. Sorry for that.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. Just okay, just give us your way in on how KRA or the eTIMS support is offering support to the taxpayers who want to get on board.
This is very important, and we have put in measures to ensure that taxpayers are supported at every geographical location and at every level, such that we have our first line support. That includes the staff at the Huduma centers. We have the customer care, the marketing team at the different levels. And then we have our second line of support that includes all the KRA officers have been well trained. They are well advanced with eTIMS. So you don't have to be in Nairobi to get quality or the support you require. In addition, we have our phone numbers that we'll still be able to showcase and our email address that is continuously being monitored, and you can always reach out to us. And if you feel the need of physically visiting us, then we are located at JQuat Towers, 8th floor along Kenyatta Avenue. So I believe those are sufficient ways in which taxpayers can reach out to us for assistance so that they can be facilitated to onboard eTIMS. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. And I think this answers, there's a question from the floor, just allow me. I know you've answered it, but there's a question from the floor. They say, I keep forgetting, I'm trained, but I keep forgetting how to use the manual. Can he also get a manual sent on how to do an online ETR? So Liz Vera, I know you've already answered this, but please just give him the comfort that
yes,
it does not matter how many times he forgets, you will still be available to assist.
Yeah, so that's well noted because we understand that people consume different information differently. So in addition to what we already have published in the websites as user guides, we are even taking it further by uploading videos. Remember, videos can be very useful, and they tend to be even easier to understand, such that when you want to do something, you can even pause and do what you have seen. You continue playing and the video and pausing as you continue to do whatever you're learning. So this has also been taken into consideration because we also want to minimize the support that taxpayers require. So our team is currently in conjunction with marketing, making videos that will we will be able to put out there for public consumption that will give you guide on each and every step, even as you onboard e-TIMS and also as you invoice taxpayers. Back to you, Corazon.
Thank you so much, Liz. I'm sure, Frederick, now you have some level of comfort. We have you covered. Even if you need us to send it to you on email, please just we'll be able to share the contact, and you can have it in whichever form you want so that you can refer as many times as possible. So, Daniel, I'll come back to you, and I'll just like to get your weigh in on this. What is the scope of e-TIMS in matters of VAT? And this again is on your just from your experience with it, from a person who's offering services on behalf of your clients.
Thank you, Corazon. e-TIMS covers VAT in full. For example, if I start with the sales, then all sales are covered in terms of what you need to transmit to the KRA. So long as you're a VAT registered person, then you need to transmit all your sales data to the Revenue Authority. And you see, if each taxpayer then transmits their sales data to the Revenue Authority, the other side of it, in terms of purchases, is also covered, because all your suppliers will have also transmitted their sales data, which is now your purchases. So in terms of coverage of VAT, it fully covers VAT in full. And even when it comes to sales, you have to transmit your exempt, taxable sales, exempt, zero-rated sales. So ideally, all your sales data goes to the KRA. I know then maybe a linkage between the VAT, now the data now you are transmitting to the Revenue Authority. And when it comes to filing on the VAT return, as Liz said, the VAT return filing still remains a separate process. But then there is that advantage of when all your data is already transmitted to the Revenue Authority, and then KRA now finalizes implementation of the pre-populated VAT return, then you will just, when we get there, you just need to log into your iTax account. You find all your data is there. You just need to verify, confirm what you have in your records, whether it matches what is there, and then you just submit your VAT return. So VAT is fully covered by e-TIMS, and it will also extend to, as I said, to all other taxes that are administered under the domestic taxes department, like, for example, the income tax, because this also includes your revenues, that is your sales, and also your purchases, expenses, and such. So there will be that connection, and it fully covers VAT. I can confirm that. Thank you.
I really appreciate the confidence that you're giving to us and to our listeners that the e-TIMS has taken into consideration all the VAT laws and just made it simpler for us to be able to comply. And that is really much appreciated, especially to the team and to the project team for just putting up measures to ensure that it's very easy for us as taxpayers to be able to comply with this. Now, there's a question on everyone's mind, Liz Vera. We are just asking ourselves, so the future looks so bright. If all of us move to e-TIMS, and we'll have, this is a lot of data. So we're just curious, and we'd like to know, where will this data that we'll be getting from the e-TIMS be stored? Where will it be hosted?
Thank you, Corazon. So I know most taxpayers are concerned about the data issue, but we are here to confirm that the data will be hosted at the KRA data center. We have already invested in that, and that had been taken into consideration because we know that there are volumes that will be received, but notably the data coming in from the invoicing of taxpayers is not so huge as taxpayers think, but we have already invested in our data center to cater for that. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera, for just giving us that confidence that at least that data will be available for us even when we just want to retrieve it for some years to come. There's a question on the floor that I'll throw it back to you, Liz Vera. And they just want to know on the issue of VAT inconsistency as a result of customer using their original invoice number instead of using the ICU number. How do we handle it? Is it the customer to amend the VAT return or the supplier to amend the VAT return? If you can kindly just shed some light to that particular taxpayer.
Thank you, Corazon. I know the issue of invoicing has been a pain, but we are here to clarify that even as we began the rollout of TIMS, it was clear from the beginning that the correct invoice number to use while filing your VAT returns is the control unit invoice number. That is the CU invoice number. So because of the different integrations from various taxpayers, we allowed them to have their trader system invoice number displayed on the tax invoice. However, we have noted that some taxpayers are still using their traders invoice numbers and not the control unit invoice number generated by the system. So the best advice I would give to taxpayers is that while you're invoicing, you actually know, or I'm sure it is not in all circumstances, but you know your taxpayers who are going to claim input tax from you. So the two of you should be in agreement on which invoice number to use to avoid inconsistencies. Remember, at the point of flagging that inconsistencies, both parties are flagged, and they are both required to amend their returns such that the sales reflect the purchases in terms of the invoice number and the invoice amount. So the correct invoice number to use is the control unit invoice number, that is the CU invoice number, and both parties will be flagged, so they have to agree on which invoice number to be used, and that is well guided from us. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
Daniel, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, just to add on that, because based on experience, it has been a pain since December, because we support many taxpayers to file their VAT returns. And I like what Liz said towards a conclusion that then you need to counter check with your supplier. I know it has been like, maybe if I give an example, most of the taxpayers have been saying, okay, if I have to capture the 19-digit number manually, if I have to tell my finance team, oh, guys, you need to capture this number when you are booking this invoice, then it becomes it's administratively cumbersome for them to do that. So that has been one of the biggest challenges which I've seen from my discussions with most of my clients. So most of them just end up booking the ERP number or the invoice, the number on the invoice from the trader system, because most of them are just simple to input in their system. And then when it comes to the filing, it has been, I can confirm so far, it has been a blend of some using the CU invoice numbers and the others using the ERP invoice numbers. I think, but I'm very sure once we have the pre-populated return on iTax, which then this challenge of saying I cannot manually key in that number, 19-digit number, because I can even miss it in terms of errors. There would be typos and such. But I know once the pre-populated return is then fully implemented, this problem will be resolved completely. But for now, I've even personally have seen it's a blend of some using the CU invoice number and the others using the taxpayers ERP number. But then I think a solution will come once we have the pre-populated return with the CU invoice numbers. Thank you. Just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for the addition. So, Lisvera, I'm just going to ask this question again, and it's because we assured our participants today that you're just going to ask all these questions in as much as they're coming back again. So, one of the attendees just wants you to clarify for them. He says that I'm having a challenge when invoicing. What could be the problem? Is it because I'm getting 00 on the last sent invoice? If you can kindly just address that question or that dilemma for the taxpayer.
So, apologies. So, I believe that the taxpayer we're talking about here is on eTIMS. That's my assumption before I go ahead, Corazon. The taxpayer is invoicing on eTIMS.
Yes.
So again, there's no known error to us with that code. So unless this is something specific to the taxpayer, then I believe I can pick it at the end of this training so that I can be able to resolve it on one-to-one engagements with the taxpayer.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. That will be much, much appreciated so that at least we'll be able to assist that taxpayer to be able to get on board as well. There's a suggestion from the floor, and I think Liz Vera will be able to pick it up and see just how we'll be able to have it. So there's a suggestion where they're saying, can we have a demo of the software when it's being used, just so that it brings it clear. So that feedback is well taken, and it's definitely going to be amongst the videos that Liz Vera has alluded to earlier. So Daniel, I'm going again to just come back to you. So from the floor, we have participants who have joined in late, and they're just requesting if you can kindly repeat how to download the eTIMS software. There's a request from the floor. Some joined in late and they missed it when you were giving us that description earlier.
Thank you, Corazon. So we said eTIMS can be accessed through an application system into the taxpayer's mobile phone, computer, tablets, or gadgets, and then through integration to the taxpayer's ERP system. And then we said also the system can also be accessed directly online, and I think this is what now the taxpayer is asking about. Okay, there is the software where you have to download a software, save it in your gadget, computer, or tablet, and then you integrate that software with your ERP such that whatever billing is taking place in your ERP, then that communication is there. Then there is that mobile phone or mobile app application which you download to your mobile, and then you can access that as well. And then there is that now the system, the direct online system where you just log into, click on a website, the URL that Liz Vera alluded to. But now, Liz, I don't know if you can maybe provide more clarity in terms of, I don't know, the tech side of the software, if you can come into that as well, please.
Thank you, Daniel. You have done justice to the question, and pretty much you have covered what it involves. The only prerequisites, even before you download the application, for guys who are in the multi-pay points and single pay point, remember the online, you don't have to download anything. It is a single URL that you use to log in and do invoicing. So the prerequisite, therefore, is that you must sign up. And once you sign up, then verification is done. An application is then sent to KRA that requires an approval. So once an approval is made, then a taxpayer will then proceed with the login sent to their phone numbers so that they can use those logins to make the download. So the main purpose why we need an application is that, remember, for guys who are installing an application, we need to know the device that you are installing the application on. So even as you onboard, there are some documentation that must be uploaded that will include, we have made it very simple. It is nothing tedious. So we are only requiring an ID for either of the directors for a company. And the main reason why we need an ID is that we want to make sure that the person who is requesting for this solution is the owner of the business. So that is the reason why we need an ID, and also we need a commitment form that is well signed. It only has details of your PIN, the name, and also the serial number of the device. So that is basically what you need to do before you go, or before you proceed to downloading of the application. Back to you, Aquino.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. I think that is as comprehensive as it can get. So I hope that our participants who joined in late at least now have a clear picture of how to go about it. So Liz Vera, there's a follow-up question to what you've just told us. So they're asking, so how do I get the URL link? How can they get the URL link to be able to just start utilizing the eTIMS system?
So it is on the KRA website, or you can just type on the taskbar. You can just type etims.kra.go.ke, and we will also be able to share the link even at the tail end of this presentation in the chat box, so that everybody can be able to get it, or we'll share it, and then Corazon will be able to disseminate the same information to the rest of the team.
Thank you so much, Liz, for that. So I know we are 9 minutes past the time we were supposed to end the conversation. So I'm just going to encourage our participants who've joined in today. If you feel there's still any other issue that you'd like us to address, we've posted in a link on the chat box where you'll be able to just fill it in, and you'll be able to address any other issue that maybe you might experience when you're trying to get on board on eTIMS, or any other issue that you feel we have not addressed today. We've also posted the information on how you can get a hold of the eTIMS support team, so that you'll be able to be assisted and guided moving forward as well. So I'm just going to request for another maybe 5 more minutes, just to quickly look at the questions that have come in before we end the session. I know we've already eaten 10 minutes. We're just requesting for 5 more minutes to address some of the few questions that have just come in on the chat. This is just a comment for Liz Vera and KRA. So people are very excited, and they're really looking forward to the pre-populated returns. And they're just wondering, when is it likely to start? I know you've already addressed that issue on your presentation. So the question that has just come in again is, what does the password entail? They just want to know, what does the eTIM password entail? If Liz Vera, you can address that question.
So I'll assume, or I'll make an assumption that this is the password someone gets put when they are signing up. So that is your unique password that you will be required to input when now you're signing in. So during sign up, you're given an option to choose your password. So I believe that's the password they're asking about. So that is the same password that you will use while signing in on whichever of the platform that you're choosing. Back to you.
So they just want, maybe for the purposes of clarity, they just want to find out, should it be alphanumeric? Is there, do they want to, do they need to have any caps on it? Because they're saying that they've tried with more than 12 characters, but it's still saying invalid. So if you can give them any pointers, maybe what to look out for when they're customizing their password, so that they can avoid having these issues.
So that's interesting, because there are no restrictions to the password. It can take both alphanumeric or numeric, or it can only take text. So there's no restrictions on the password, the way the password should look like.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. So you've been given the leeway to just choose a password that is easy for you to remember and easy for you to just be able to access the eTIMS system. So there's a question again. I'll still just pose it back to you, Liz Vera. If I download the system on my phone and then I want it on my laptop later? How do I go about it?
So for change of devices, you need an approval from our side, because the risk actually we are mitigating there is that assuming that you need support from us to do the installation, then every taxpayer would always call us to change their devices, or because of one reason to the other. And also for data security, we believe that when you want to change your devices, you have to ensure that all the invoices are first transmitted, and then there's an authorization that has to happen from our side. So if you need to change your devices, and again, at this point, it's important to make it clear that there are some options that cannot work on your phone. So if you're switching from a phone to a laptop or a desktop, then it has to be the same version that you had requested for. So in terms of switching, then there is need for us to approve the shifting of the gadgets that had initially been initialized by the taxpayers. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Liz Vera. So please, we still encourage you to go through your chat box and see we've posted a link that will take you to more information on eTIMS. We've also posted a link to just give you the leeway to be able to ask any more questions that will be coming from the floor. And I like that our participants say the ones that are saying they've struggled a bit, they said they're going to keep on trying to just change the password to be able to just have a password that will work for them. But in the meantime, as Liz Vera has said, she's available to just assist you in case you get stuck on it. So there's the final question, I think, from the floor is, on registering to eTIMS, what happens if the phone number and the email links to the PIN are no longer in use? Liz Vera, you can take that final question from the floor.
So that depends again, and remember, with even this implementation, we are cognizant of the fact that some of these devices can also be stolen. They can also run down due to other reasons. So once the device is no longer in use, we will be able to see from our side that the devices are not being used to transmit the invoices. So then the burden of proof will lie on the taxpayer's side, because it is almost impossible for us to know the reason why you are not using the device, or the reason for non-compliance matters transmission of invoices. So we advise that the taxpayer reaches out to us, and depending on the reason why the device is no longer in use, we will be able to advise on the way forward. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Liz, for that. So I'm going to just come back to you, Daniel. Our 5 minutes that you were given by the participants has lapsed. So I'm just going to ask you to give us the final submission, just a word of encouragement to our taxpayer out there to get on board, because I'm sure you've done it for your clients. So just something and your final submission before we end the session.
Thank you, Corazon. Just one more point on the issue where you are not able to use. The ones who are using the ETR currently. So in any case, if you are not able to use it, then you need to communicate to the commissioner within 24 hours. That communication has to be in writing. That is what is required in the law. So that engagement with the commissioner must be there. So if a taxpayer is facing a challenge, then don't sit on it. You have to formally communicate to the commissioner. So in terms of maybe concluding remarks, from where I sit, I think even as a tax consultant, eTIMS has really, the electronic invoicing has even made our work easier as well. It's like a solution to the long problems, which, the problems or maybe VAT compliance issues, which have been there for many years. And I think, as I said, this solution is even it's take it further, even when it comes to seeking for VAT refunds and such. And even in terms of audits and such, it will also significantly reduce the time investment. So personally, I feel it's the way to go, technology. And given that even looking at our, the developed world and such, these are solutions which have been implemented elsewhere and worked very well. So I think it's the way to go. And personally, I'm happy. Even from the KRA side, it has been a journey where we've had a lot of support from the KRA. And I feel we are in the right place, right time, the right environment. And given that even businesses are growing, we've seen, if we can go back like just 5 to 10 years, you may find even in terms of transaction and such, really things have massively changed. Even when I look at when I joined PwC, we used to submit manual VAT returns, just go there, Times Tower, queue there and drop your VAT return manually in a box, which you are not sure whether the KRA will really, I know there were documentation, but at times then we had a lot of gaps. But now this where we are at the moment, I think the KRA has really done a lot. Looking at where I started as a consultant and where we are today, things are really working well. And that is through the embracing of technology. What we are saying, like in terms of VAT compliance, then TIMS has sorted so many things. So I'm happy, and I can also confirm our clients are also in the system, and it has been a smooth journey, and we are happy so far. Maybe just a few teething problems here and there, which I know majorly things around credit notes, which have been there with TIMS, but these are things which have been sorted, and even decimal places when you are transmitting the data, those have been sorted. So far, so good. We've walked the journey together with taxpayers and the KRA, and I'm happy. And I know we are going for in terms of compliance, making the process even easier for both parties. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for your kind words. Indeed, usiachwe nyuma. Let's all get on board. It's easier. It makes even you doing that job fun and makes compliance very accurate from what we've just heard from our panelist, Mr. Daniel. A kind reminder that please let's just go to the chat box and let's make sure that we've filled in the feedback form. Just click on it and tell us anything else that you want us to address in regards to TIMS or any other topic you'd like us to address. We have put on the display the phone numbers. We've also put in the emails for the TIMS support, and we've also shown you the location on how, when, and where you can be able to be assisted. So I'll go to my second panelist, Ms. Liz Vera, if you can give us your final submission.
Thank you, Corazon. For me, as part of the project team implementing TIMS, I'd really like to thank taxpayers who took their time off their busy schedule to attend this sensitization. I believe we have tried to answer most of your questions, and at least some of the facts have been made clear. Mine is just to urge you that the deadline for onboarding was 30th of November last year. And with this new development, we have made sure that we have catered for all our taxpayers. So there's absolutely no reason why any VAT registered taxpayer should not be compliant or should not be onboarded on TIMS. So the message is out there. The message is very clear that taxpayers are required to onboard TIMS, and Corazon has already displayed how to get in touch with us. So we are looking forward to serving you. We are looking forward to making your journey memorable. We are looking forward to making sure that you get the necessary support you need, and just working together to ensure that our VAT compliance goes high. So thank you so much, and back to you, Corazon.
Thank you so much to our panelists. We highly appreciate you taking time to just share the wealth of knowledge that you have and just clarifying the issues and not tiring even when we kept on just taking you back for clarity. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to just having more and more engagements where we just get to clarify issues from our taxpayers. I know there are questions on whether or not you'll be able to find this recording. Yes, it's available for you just on KRA TV. It's hosted there. The videos that we've spoken about, they're also available for you on our website and on our YouTube pages. So feel free to just visit our various sources of information and get to know more and just make reference to the discussions that we've had today. Our call to action to our participants today: tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about the good news about eTIMS and the simplicity and the benefits that it has to all of us as a country. So with that, I'd just like to appreciate everyone for joining us today, and just to say a big thank you and a big appreciation to us. So thank you so much. Let's hope that we'll be able to meet in next time when we'll be discussing a different subject. Thank you so much and have a lovely weekend ahead of you. Thank you.